Anyway, here we go.
Yes,
So
anyways.
here we go. Here we go. So welcome. This is another episode of the Kuile Courageous Conversations. Hi everyone. My name is Sheldon from Kapiʻolani Community College.
And I'm Alfie, the other half of the Kule outreach team with the Kule Courageous Conversations. I almost fumbled over that. You know, it's Friday. We just had a campus tour, Sheldon, so we're tired. We've had a busy semester so far.
So if we were to day stamp today, we are February 16, 2024. And we just had 250 seventh graders on our campus. It was so great. It's so great to have these young minds on our campus. What was your big takeaway today?
Their big takeaway?
Your big takeaway.
Oh, my big takeaway?
Yeah.
They're hungry and growing. I mean,
Yes.
you asked them, well, so we had 3 different sessions that they kind of went through. And when I asked them, okay, what was your favorite part about today? The thing we're going to do right after, mister. I'm like, oh, that's lunch. So, you know, it's just, they're just looking forward to it. They're tired, you know, but they're such troopers. I think for a lot of them, it's their first time setting foot on a campus or college campus. So those, all these different type of energy, it was a good energy that was kind of permeating throughout the whole tour.
And, you know, I always try to tell those students, you know, ask a ton of questions. Your voice matters. Like, your thoughts matter. What I didn't realize is that they love vending machines. And so when I said, you know, this is your time to be a college student, I should have kind of prefaced it. So we've had hordes of kids around vending machines buying soda because there's no soda on a school campus.
Yeah.
We had a student try to convince one of our tour guides to buy him something in our bookstore because we serve coffee. It was so fun.
It was funny. And I guess, and for our listeners out there, there's a lot of our schools that we work with. If you have a vending machine on campus, it's just water.
It's just water.
It's just straight up water. So the fact that they saw like a sugar drink, caffeinated drink in this same thing that they have in their school, but it doesn't serve it, they were tripping out. They're like, mister, I want to buy. I was like, wait, talk to your teacher.
What
Talk
do
to your
you mean
teacher.
soda. But they also had a life lesson because there was one soda machine that took their money and the soda didn't come out. But it's like, that's life.
Yeah. But I did have, I had a pretty cool highlight though, because one of our sessions involved us walking to the student activity center. And they saw a pool table, they saw a foosball table, and they're like, oh, mister, this is pretty cool. You know, I can do this. Like, can I play pool? It's like, absolutely. When you become a student here, you can definitely become a student. But I also talked about the cool opportunities that come within that area, you know, get involved with student congress, you know, student activities and student publications, which, Sheldon, is that a segue into what we're talking about today?
Yes, I think it is. And, you know, going back to the student voice, it's so great. It's so powerful. And, you know, interesting segue. We have a publication, right? That's both digital and print.
Yes, we do.
And I think we have folks in the room that are going to talk about that.
Yeah. Yes, we do.
And just so happened in the room with us.
Hey, what do you know?
So I'm really excited today. We talk about student leadership. We talk about student voices. We talk about really students being change agents on college campuses. And I believe that 100%. And we joke about certain staff writer being sick during finals. So this was a long interview coming. And so, but joking, we're just really excited that they're here with us today. So we are excited to welcome in the room the staff writers for Kapiʻo News. And if we had fancy high-tech stuff, you hear applause and horns and other.
Yeah, that's our little air horn for you all. And then actually one of them, Sheldon, is actually, this is what, our 3rd or 4th appearance on our podcast. So she got this down.
I'm gonna hang up and then she can take over. Anyway, so let's have the staff writers introduce themselves. Maybe you could share a little about yourself, your degrees at Kapiolani, or if goals after KCC, if you don't mind. Floor is yours.
All right. Well, I guess first off, my name is Cameron. I am the most senior staff writer with Kapiʻo. I've been working for almost 3 years now. I started in fall 2021, and since then I have completed my associates in secondary ed at KCC, and this will be my last semester before transferring to Manoa in the fall to study social work. Hey, what's the thumbs down for? I'll still be around.
Awesome. Thank you, Cameron. Who's next?
Oh, should I go next? Hi, so my name is Juri. I started working at Kapiʻo on like spring, I don't know if it's spring or like fall 2022. I was born in the Philippines, but I'm from Japan, so I'm an international student. This is my last semester at KCC, and well, I'm looking to get my bachelor's in communications. Yeah. So yeah, I'm very happy to be here.
Thank you, Juri. Last but not least.
And I'm Shawna. I think my first article was written in February of 2022. I'm doing an associate's in liberal arts with a concentration in English at KCC. This is also my last semester at KCC, similarly to Cameron and Juri, and I'm planning to major in English.
It's like they all made a pact. Okay, this is it at KCC. We are done. We're done. We finally showcased Kapiʻo on a podcast. Like, we're done. Deuces.
Kapiʻo will still be around.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. So, Sheldon, like, if we go back, the tables have turned on Juri because she interviewed us not too long ago. So so now we're interviewing her per se, I guess you say.
I'm excited.
So Kapiʻo, what drew? Maybe I'll start with Cameron as the most senior writer with Kapiʻo. What drew you to Kapiʻo News?
I'll be honest, I was never a strong writer coming out of high school, and I think the main thing that drew me to Kapiʻo was my desire to get better at writing, but also when I started taking classes at KCC, everything was pretty much online due to COVID, and I wanted to find a way to get involved on campus, and to me that seemed like the quickest route there to have a job, and I guess getting to know people through interviews and whatnot, though I feel like it was a very one-sided introduction most of the time, but I've had a lot of fun working with the team and publishing stories over the years. So yeah.
Hang on. So you're saying this is a paid gig?
Yes, it is.
Mm-hmm.
Huh.
And when you say paid, you're not getting paid per article?
Unfortunately, no.
Okay. Okay, just checking.
Because we need to talk about that because there's a certain K-pop article that's in question. So we'll touch on that later.
I feel that's one of the most highest rated articles that possibly could have been read, but that's a different story. We'll for
another conversation. So do most students know that being a staff writer is a paid position?
I would like to think so. We're working on, I guess, spreading the word. So we submitted our hiring flyer to Student Congress so that they'll be able to show it on the TVs in the cafeteria. We're working on social media posts because we will have to find staff writers before the three of us leave.
Yep.
But so far, no luck. So hopefully this will help get things out there also.
Yeah, for sure, sure. Juri, why Kapiʻo News?
So English isn't my first language, and I feel like I can express myself more through writing than actually, verbally communicating in English. And since I was in high school, I was in journalism club too. So this is my first experience in like working in the US. So yeah, I took the opportunity to work at Kapiʻo. And I'm very glad that I did. Yeah. I wish I never had to leave, but I have to leave. So.
Alfie, can we do something to their grades that'll keep them here longer?
Possibly.
no.
We could. I think
No,
we could we could change their majors and then change all
Oh God.
change all their
Changing our
current.
requirements.
Change your requirements. Change it to electives. You know.
You guys have a lot of power here, huh?
I make a quick call.
Yeah.
Algae's power tripping right now.
We have no. I have no authority over anything.
Yeah.
Yeah. Give me this pen. But Shawna, why Kapiʻo News?
Actually, during my first semester at KCC, there was an English 100 course that I took, and the professor sort of mentioned stuff that I could do to get involved on campus. And I heard about like the student newspaper, Kapiʻo News, and I was like, oh, that seems interesting. Maybe I should like try it out and try to write, because I am an English major, but I've never tried anything remotely similar to journalism before Kapiʻo News. So I went and basically applied, and it was funny. But what we were talking about earlier is that I did not know it was paid. So I was there, and Kim, our advisor, suddenly brought up that we'd be getting like paid, and I had to do paperwork for that, and I was like, oh wow, like I'm getting paid, huh? But yeah, Kapiʻo has been really beneficial to learning more about writing, sort of exploring things on campus, and getting more engaged.
So you had mentioned that. I mean, three of you mentioned this is your final semester at Kapiʻolani. It's time to move on to the next chapter, which is, in all honesty, super cool. We've been at KCC forever, and to see students move from this chapter to the next, its growth is always super neat to witness. What can you share? Because you're saying you need more staff writers as you folks exit. What would be the selling point of being a staff writer for Kapiʻo?
That is a hard one. Well, I guess it depends on the student, but for me personally, getting paid was a highlight.
Hey,
Not to say that
Gotta get
I'm
paid.
financially motivated all the
yeah,
time,
no,
but
gotta get paid.
it was awesome being paid for it. Because I would say it is a harder job of the jobs on campus. Because a lot of the times when we email people or we try to reach out, we don't get a response, like we get ghosted, or people will actively avoid us on campus when we see them. But you know what? There are upsides to it. I would say definitely getting paid is number one for me.
How do you
Actually-
plow through those? Like, so when you have those times that people are just getting back to you, I'm guessing you got to have a thick skin for that kind of stuff. And this could be maybe a real life tip. How do you plow through that?
Well, from the experiences I've had, if emails aren't working, I usually check the person's office hours and see if I can drop by that way. Because most of the time I feel like the emails just get buried in their inbox. It's not them ignoring me on purpose, which is, nice to know. But if that doesn't work, we're always working on other stories too. So if it's not a timely thing, we'll just juggle the other writing pieces that we have going on. But usually dropping by during office hours works.
So creative stalking? Just joking.
Whatever you want to call it.
That's how Juri got me, actually. I was walking around and then I saw her and then I was like, oh. And then she started walking towards me. I'm like, oh, here we go. This is like an interview. It's like, okay. But then, then I thought about what Cameron just mentioned is like, oh, it is tough. It is tough. People don't like to be put on the spot. People don't like to be misquoted. All these little things that kind of come into it. But I guess to give the listeners out there a view of what it's like inside the Kapiʻo room, like how do these stories come about? Like how do you come up with these topics? Do you throw darts at a board or you junk and pull? Like what happens?
No, you can go, Juri.
No, you can go first.
Oh, if you say so. Okay, so it depends on the article for us, how it comes to be. Sometimes, for example, there's opinion pieces where we talk about things that we're personally interested in, or stuff that's happened to us. For example, Cameron wrote about like running a marathon, and everybody has different opinions to share. So those tend to sort of come from personal interest. And there's also, for example, articles about events on campus. So those tend to be about hearing about things that are going on campus and tuning into that and writing about that, or finding like interesting people on campus and talking to them after we find out something that would make for like a good article. And of course, there's also stuff that's timely. So we write about like commencement. We write stories depending on different like holidays. For example, I just wrote a piece for Valentine's Day. So I guess that as events happen, we meet people, and sort of just time passes, we get a lot more ideas for articles.
Yeah, long story short, we brainstorm, and yeah, we propose ideas to each other, and yeah, just kind of go from there.
So one of the things that I was following, sorry, just writing notes too, because just neat stuff, is the word on the streets. You guys piece on word of the streets, and those are really fun to read. I saw some of my former students that I used to see in the high school realm being interviewed, which is super cool. What are some of the more shocking responses you got when you did those word on the streets? You're just like, oh, okay.
All right. I know we've had some interesting ones, most definitely, in I don't know how many weeks we've done it. But for me, the standout response was when I asked people, I think this was not Christmas last year, but in 2022. One of my questions was, what is the worst gift you've ever received?
Yikes.
And I had one student tell me he received a t-shirt from an ex-girlfriend that was supposed to be with characters from his favorite anime. And they had those characters. But the title of the anime that was on the shirt was from a completely different show. So it made no sense whatsoever, and it probably made him look really ridiculous if he wore it. But I always thought that one was kind of funny.
How about the others? Any shocking word of the day?
Oh, sorry. I have one that was pretty shocking for me when I first interviewed them. It was a question about politics. So, like, are they voting? If they care about politics, and what they thought the major issues were currently. I'm not going to say which person it was because there's only 5, but I had to talk to them and sort of cut down on somebody's response because it was incredibly long and impassioned, and also it brought up like Hitler in the response. And I don't know, it was pretty interesting to hear at the time because I did not expect someone to so openly talk about it that way. Yeah.
Interesting.
So that was one that was more shocking to me than the other word on the streets I've gotten.
Well, me, nothing really funny, but I guess I did one word in the street where I asked students and professors and what they wanted to change about KCC. And I remember one professor, I believe his name is John from the biology department. I guess the way he openly answered the question was really brave to me, I guess. Yeah, because his answer was like, oh, I wanted to make all the community colleges and all the university to be in one system and not separated, I guess. So, yeah, I guess the way students and professors openly answer the question is, yeah, pretty awesome.
I think along the same vein, so we had these interesting word on the streets, awkward ones, but what was the toughest story that y'all had to deal with in terms of so think back to because between the three of you, y'all wrote tons of articles. So what was like the toughest one you had to deal with?
I feel like featured stories was hard for me because it's telling personal stories of like other people. And like right now I'm currently working on a article. So basically he's a student here at KCC from Afghanistan, and we talk a lot about sensitive issues and stuff like that. So there were actually parts that he didn't want to tell me, but because he told me, I thought it would be okay to be in the article. So after I showed him the draft of my article, he asked if I could delete some of the information because it was pretty sensitive. So I guess telling people's story is what's hard for me. Yeah. Because I can write that this person is amazing. I can write that this person is this person, but you know, we are all different and we want to tell our own story in certain, you know, ways. So yeah, I guess this was hard.
Oh gosh, I mean, this could be like a 2 to 3 to 4 to 5 hour conversation, because for all of you, with this idea of freedom of speech, freedom of press,
Yes.
and of course, students being or having a very powerful voice, very powerful influence. What is your folks' takeaway now that this is your last semester? What would be your, I guess, your top 3 takeaways in being in this very important position, um, as far as being a voice?
I would say top 3 takeaways would be, I suppose, reading a situation, like how Juri was sharing. It's important to be able to understand when someone is uncomfortable and also when you can push for a deeper answer on some things. But of course, that comes with a lot of experience during interviews, which I think we all have had over the past few years. Second, I would say just getting to meet people you wouldn't normally have the opportunity to. Because for one of the stories I was writing, I was able to meet with representatives from the House, and that was very interesting because I was with Student Congress and whatnot. So seeing them push their bill forward for summer tuition being lowered was awesome. And then lastly, I would say just the writing experience in general. Because like I said, I came into this with very low expectations and not being very experienced with being a journalist. And now I would say I'm a lot more confident because most of our stories are 500 words or so. And I think now I have the ability to, go through these stories as long as I have my interview done within an hour or two, which is something I would not have been able to do when I first started.
Shawna, 3 takeaways.
3 takeaways. I think that one thing about being in Kapiʻo is that if you have curiosity about something, or if there's just something that you're interested in, you can really pursue that and sort of go into it and like interview people about the topic, or just sort of figure out what you're curious about. One story I wrote was about Hawaii's first boy band, and I actually reached out to them and got to talk to them at length. And it was really interesting to do that because in most other situations you wouldn't be like in the circumstances to be able to sort of delve into something that you just like see on the news as a cool new thing that you can see around. With Kapiʻo, you sort of have the grounds and you're able to do things that you usually aren't able to. Like just when it comes to like interviews, you can talk to like the chancellor or learn a lot about the campus. I guess one takeaway is that you have a lot of I don't know the right word for it, but there's a lot that you can do. Another key takeaway. I guess I'd say that working with Kapiʻo has made me a stronger writer Writing journalism is very different from writing essays or writing fiction or poetry. And I feel like exercising that sort of writing muscle was very interesting and teaches you a lot about how the articles that you read, like online or the news or in magazines, it sort of teaches you how to see those sort of in both like ethics and all of the efforts that's put into just like one article. Because as Cameron said, our articles are pretty short, but you sort of see all of the effort that came behind every article that you read. Like, I have different insight into things that I wouldn't have had before working with Kapiʻo. And third takeaway. I guess I'd say that a third takeaway of my time with Kapiʻo is just that it's very fun. Like, you get to explore a lot of things. You have fun talking to like your other staff writers, and there's a lot of interesting things that can only happen when you're like going around the campus and like, interviewing people or trying to make a social media post.
That's really cool. Juri.
Well, me being my first time here in Hawaii, I guess I get to communicate with people. I've met a lot of interesting people around on campus, and I guess I just get to meet a lot of people, and yeah. Second, I guess I've learned to listen better. When I interview people or sometimes in an article, and I kind of like email Kim, and Kim will email me back, our advisor, and basically I am like learning stuff from her. So yeah, I guess I became like a better listener. And third, I guess I get to communicate myself better. I get to email people and call people and talk to them, and just be like confident with communicating myself. Yeah, that's all.
It's so great as I'm taking notes. It's all personal growth. And it's such an amazing thing when it comes to students signing up for these types of extracurricular activities at the college. I mean, Alfie, as a longtime student activities guy, you must see a lot of these growth opportunities.
Oh man, that's the reminder of why we do what we do. Being an advisor and just seeing that growth. And yes, like I remember first meeting them, this group, and just to see them now after many articles later, and that's why like when I heard, oh, it's my last semester, it's like, oh my gosh, we got to go through that whole process again with the new batch of students. But but that's part of the journey. That's part of the journey. And and with student leaders, I have nothing but respect for student leaders, for student writers, because you all are amazing. You do amazing things.
So I know we're at the tail end of our interview. This has been, I joke about having 250 seventh graders. It was just really wild, but this has been a great way to close out the week, starting off the day with youth, being exposed to higher ed, and speaking to what's going to be our future leaders in all types of capacities.
Yeah.
Now that you're looking for the next wave of writers, what would be your hook? We're gonna probably get this out as far reaching as we can.
So keep in mind, we have how many listeners, Sheldon? Like at least five.
At least five.
Five, aside from the ones in the room. But don't we have like 5,000 plus downloads? We're worldwide too, by the way. Just letting you know that.
As I search for this, what would be it?
I would say just get out there and try something new. Aside from Shawna, I'm not really sure if our majors pertain to writing necessarily. But you know what? I feel like KCC is the place to experience anything you want. So the way I see it, it's more of a trial and error. Even if it doesn't work, you can always stop writing, but you won't know until you try it. So I would just say get yourself out there while you can.
Any others? We're trying to sell Kapiʻo to some folks who are on the fence. We heard from Cameron, paid gig. I get that, but what else?
I'd say that working with Kapiʻo sort of helps you. Well, we talked about this during the podcast, but grow and really become more confident. I know that a lot of people that I've sort of talked to about joining Kapiʻo have mainly been worried that they aren't like able to do it. But I feel like with Kapiʻo, rather than not being able to do it, you sort of grow and you become more confident both in approaching people, talking to them, and having confidence in yourself to be able to create things that you might not be confident of being able to beforehand. So I'd say that Kapiʻo is a great place to grow and become more confident and gain experience.
So me, first off, you're getting paid writing at Kapiʻo, okay? Yes, I can tell you how much is it per hour, but you know, for for example, you have your job and you want a part-time job where you can also grow and learn and be involved in campus. Yeah, Kapiʻo is the right place. We're hiring.
They are hiring.
Yes.
So anyway, we have like 4,000 downloads as of today, which is really cool. And our reach, which is always fun to look at, goes from, of course, Hawaii all the way to Asia. We have quite a bit in Europe, which is amazing. So I don't know, you might have Kapiʻo writers from Europe. I don't make that up. Anyway, Cameron, Shawna, Juri, thank you so much for spending the Friday with us. You've had probably other things to do, but you decided to spend it with us. So thank you very much. We're very, very grateful. Alfie, any final words?
No, this was a great way to kind of end the week. With like you said, the leaders of tomorrow. We saw 7th graders on a campus, and we're like, oh my goodness, full, vibrant, full of energy. And then now we have, as I look on our Zoom screen, we're going to see people in going places in prestigious positions. We're really looking forward to that. Just don't forget where y'all came from. Remember us little people, Sheldon and myself.
One word that rises to the top is hopeful. I'm always very hopeful
yes.
Every time I hear what students are doing and how they are just important change agents. So thank you, Cameron. Thank you, Shawna. Thank you, Juri. Best of luck to you. I'm really sad when I was jotting down, they're 80 degree. And then and we're leaving KCC. It's like,
Yeah. I know. When I heard it 3 times, that kind of hurt a little bit. So I was like, oh no.
Okay. First one's leaving. Okay. Second one's leaving. Third one is leaving.
Yeah. That's okay.
But thank you very, very much. Really appreciate you all.
Thank you.
Thank you.